This is a piano made in approximately around 1917, and it was originally a player piano, and I'm in the process of converting it to a QRS player system using solenoids rather than the traditional bellow type playing mechanism. Hello folks, this is February the 9th, 2010. I finally got the piano laying on its side, and I had just got through cutting a slot out for the solenoids to go into, and you can see through there on the back side where the keys are that the solenoids will be hitting. They'll be pushing those up and activating the keys inside of the piano. Here is the solenoid rail that will be going in, and then when I get it mounted to the bottom of the piano, then each of these solenoids are fixed where they can be spaced out. Because, like for example, right in here there is a little gap in there, so all of them will have to be spaced where they'll be hitting the center of each key, but that won't be any problem. But I guess the hardest part was just cutting that slot out and getting the piano up on its side. Everything else hopefully will be a little easier. Once I get that positioned and running the wires and hooking that up to the CPU unit will be fairly easy, I believe. But I doubt if I'll tackle that today. I've spent quite a bit of time, and I probably need to clean up my mess a little bit before I start another one. I've got sawdust over just about everything in here, and I didn't realize it will spread out this much, but I guess it's better than carrying the piano outside, so I can deal with that. This is March 11th of 2010. I finally got the solenoid switches put in the bottom of the piano, and all the control modules, the circuit boards and everything is all installed and hooked up. I've still got to attach the wires where they won't be hanging loose, and I've got a steel enclosure for the solenoids to help allow those to run a little quieter. But before I went that far, I wanted to make sure everything is lined up properly and all the controls or the solenoids are working in correspondence with the right note. So I have brought my Nord C1 in here, and I have it hooked up to the MIDI, and use this to check it out and make sure the right key is playing as compared to the right note being pressed on the organ. And I've got this set up to be powered off the upper keyboard, and everything is working like it should. I'll probably press. You won't be able to hear any sound because the hammers are up since the piano is on its side. But like for example a C chord, and it's somewhere in the midway of the range. It should be some of these solenoids in here. I'm not sure if I can focus in on the right one or not. There's that one. There's that one. Those should be probably. There we go. That's 3 notes of the C chord, but they all everything works. Of course, when the piano is laying or in the position that it's will be played in, all the weight of these solenoid stems will automatically drop back down. Right now I'm having to use a magnet to reach in there and pull them back out, but it's better than me have to lay the piano down and work on it and then have to pick it back up, because this thing's kind of heavy and I don't have any help right now to pick it up. But you can see the solenoids being brought in. That's a part of that C chord. So we'll go to the next one. And that's another part of the C chord. It's pretty neat, and these will be playing the keys of the piano, and I can play the piano from a MIDI controller like the Nord C1, or maybe eventually I'll try to get me a full-size organ with a MIDI control on it, and also be able to play the piano from it as well, just with the flip of a button. And that's my ultimate plan for this setup. I really don't care that much about playing the piano through their disc. I've got a player piano over in the house, and after a while you get tired of that, but I would like to be able to have an authentic piano sound while playing the organ, and this is the only way that I know how to do that. This is March 17th, 2010. I've got the plate over the solenoids to, I guess that'll kind of help dampen any sound that they produce, and also I guess makes it look a little bit neater, but the wiring and all the other attachments are on the outside, so not everything is concealed, but the wiring from the solenoids just going above the enclosure and going to each board that controls the solenoid valves. One thing that I did have to do is this support rod was originally mounted right in here. I don't know if you can see where the original hole is for it, but because of this I couldn't put it back in its original location, so I had to add a block of wood, and then I've got a longer screw that goes through this piece of wood also into the wood of the piano as well. Gives it a little extra support. Hello everybody, this is March the 24th, 2010. Finally finished the piano up last night, and the day before, on Monday, Jack Bedon, the one that plays the piano on a lot of my clips, came over and helped me set the piano back on its feet. And last night I did some fine adjustments with the solenoids and got everything ready. There's a few little things I've got to do yet. The gap between the solenoids and where they hit, there's a little space in there, but I'm leaving that in there on purpose because I'll have the regulation of the piano pulled out, and I'm going to have some work done on it and put it back in. Then I'll bring the solenoids up flush with the keying mechanisms. But as it is now, it still works okay. It just might have a little noise as it hits each pad of the keys. Also too, I'm having a little communication problems with the damper pedal, or sustain pedal, and I've got to work on it, but it's not really an issue right now. But I'll give you an idea of what things sound like. It's a little awkward to me because I'm not used to playing the piano from an organ, and the keys are a lot more sensitive than it is with the piano itself, so it's not sounding very smooth, but I think I can work that out with a little practice.